I think we're good. But this copy says some years ago that I used to old beautiful Nubia was called old. Beautiful Nubia is beautiful. Oh dear, where do we begin? Okay, I remember where we stopped, so we're going to pick up from there. In case you're just joining us, it's, let's start afresh. Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you very much for being here today. Lovely to have you here. If you're on TikTok, please power tap and continue to like the live. Thank you for 28.2k likes on TikTok. I really do appreciate it. Please keep power tapping and sharing, and also click on the heart icon above me here and join the team. If you remember already, just drop a heart me. Let's push it out together to the FYP. Also subscribe. You can subscribe on YouTube. You can also subscribe on TikTok and gift as well. It helps, right, when you gift. That way, the algorithm can recommend the live to others. You can gift on YouTube. You can give on TikTok as well. Thank you very much for your support. T Dan, thanks for the heart me. I really do appreciate it. Ole kan comrades is a cook bell. Everybody, good to see everybody. Thank you very much for joining us. All right, so let's get straight into it. We read a news report earlier, but we might as well read it again, just so we put everything, and because I'm starting a new live on YouTube. By the way, before we do that, let me just check YouTube to be sure we're good, and then we can get started. If you're on YouTube, please like the live and share as well. It will greatly help what we are doing. Thank you very much. Thank you. I see the heart me job. I was like, that would be nice. It would be nice, wouldn't it? Ijoba Jaguar. Thank you. Okay, look like we're good on YouTube and we're good on Facebook. Thank you very much for being here, everybody. If you're on YouTube, please like the live and also share. If you're on Facebook, kindly like and share. If you're on X, please like and repost so that way others will see the live stream. So let's start with the good news. We read it earlier. It doesn't hurt to read it again. The President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, is doing something really cool for folks in the southeastern part of Nigeria. I'm going to read this from the Guardian newspaper. President Bola Tinubu, via his renewed hope agenda, launched free JAM registration for 50,000 Southeast students, giving 8,500 naira each to support 2027 exams. The program aims to promote education, youth empowerment, and future leadership in the region. Like I mentioned earlier, some people have criticized this, and some people have also lauded the president. I think it's really nice what the president is doing. People have asked how come it's not being done in other regions, particularly in the southwest, but I think the southeast needs it, and if the president has decided to do it for them, it's something that I am in support of. And people are also, using that to, makes no sense to me, throw shades and say, why is he helping them? Why is he helping us? I mean, talking about folks in the southeast, I think they should embrace this rather than condemning it. I understand personally, though, that it doesn't really matter what he does. People will be what they want to be, and that's fine. But I'm glad that they are able to benefit from the government, which is something that we should all be happy about. All right, we're going to move very quickly from there, and then we'll go to Abuja. Last weekend, area council elections held in Abuja, Amak, Buhari, Gogalada, and so on and so forth. And I'm sure you must have heard the report already. APC won in some areas, PDP won in some areas. We're going to get into all of those things later. Before we get into that, I want to play you something from a space that was held by, interestingly, ADC folks, obedience in ADC. And the funny thing is that in 2023, this guy said that Lagos was a cosmopolitan state. All right, I said Chinedu. Gbadebo Road, and it's Chinedu as well, anyway, but you get what I mean. Chinedu, dear Lord. GRV, let's just say, I'm saying Chinedu because I'm reading Chinedu right here. GRV also stated that Lagos was a cosmopolitan state, it must be open to everybody. And everybody says, yes, obedient family, Lagos is for everybody. Then some of them even say Lagos was a no man's land. It belongs to all of us. And I would have said yes if the people talking were actually saying. But if your idea of it belongs to all of us means that it's actually no man's land, that's nonsense. But they said that about Lagos in 2023. Well, Abuja elections happened the other day, and they said something a bit different from what they said in Lagos. And I thought you should know about it. So let's take a listen to this X space where obedience were talking and what they had to say about Abuja. Take a listen, please.
Because you have said this is not you've said I've heard this is not here. Macnoon Abuja is not Lagos. So carry yourself to Lagos and go and be whining yourself there. Let me say this: you can never overrun the indigenes of a place. See, you can't do it. Abuja is a how can you come and say cosmopolitans? Cosmopolitan. Avi, you remember I was saying this thing that day? You remember you and Esteem were there? When we talk, you people should shut up your mouth. Now just start yesterday and still say Nasabi and pass us. I'm not around though, but man, the things I've been hearing in my ear. Let me give you people one thing. Let me say it again to you. You see, area council in Abuja is our local government. We call it area council. It has been for years like something that is left for the baggies. You cannot come to another man's land and then you think you want to be the author and the finisher of that person. Just the way you don't want people to come to your own land and come and overpower you. You can't do that. Whether this place is cosmopolitan, or you must respect the owners of the place. It is the mindset of your sense that should work. This is a bad land, whether you like it or not. And that is the only thing they hold. That is the only thing they see as their own. So that thing, we that are non-indigenous, okay.
By the way, I watched Scholar Show. Those guys were funny. Well, the same people who told you that Lagos was cosmopolitan are the ones telling you that Abuja is now for Gbagi people. Do I believe Abuja is for Gbagi people? Absolutely. Do I believe that what is good for the goose is also good for the gander? Absolutely. There's nothing like no man's land. And because they failed to understand that they are indigenous people that actually, quote unquote, own Abuja. See, the idea basically is not even that you don't want to participate, it's that you actually respect them enough to give them a pride of place, to allow them to support them in their own space. But the funny thing is that those who are now telling you, and it's right what they're saying now, that the Gbagis are indigenous to Abuja and so on and so forth. They were the ones who were telling you in the last election that Lagos belongs to everybody. And when you spoke at the time, you were told that you were a bigot and you were a tribalist. Well, let me read something very funny to you. Top 5 chairmanship candidates, 2026 FCT area council election. So APC had Umar Abubakar, who interesting is actually a baggy man. And then he had Zaka Christopher as Abaji. Sorry, Zaka Christopher, I think, is a Baggy man. He's one in Amak, right? So the names are many. So here's what I just say. APC was able to arrange themselves. You had FCT. You had, so what you notice, you have a lot of names from the north. You have folks from that area itself, Baggy. You have some from Benue, and you have Igbos, right? Essentially, that's essentially what you have here, right? So APC, PDP, ADC, NNPP, YPP, SDP, and so on and so forth. Okay. The interesting thing is that no Yoruba person went on that ballot. Respect is reciprocal. Just respect people. Respect people. Would it be wrong for others, like an Igbo person running Abuja? It's not like it is wrong. Just to be clear, so that people don't say, "Oh, you're a bigot." I don't even care if you say, "Yeah, I'm a bigot." That's your concern. But the thing is, you know what? Let me not tell you what I think. Let me read to you what they are saying. PDP, what they are saying. So that, sorry, Abuja people, what they are saying. Give me a second. I'll find you something quite interesting. While I'm looking for it, listen to this lady again. It's quite interesting.
No, because you have said this is not you said I've heard this is not here. Macnoon Abuja is not Lagos. So carry yourself to Lagos and go and be whining yourself there. Let me say this. You can never overrun the indigenous of a place. See, you can't do it. Abuja is a how can you come and say
cosmopolitan?
Cosmopolitan, Cosmopolitan. Avi, you remember I was saying this thing that day? You remember you and Esteem were there? When we talk, you people should shut up your mouth. Now just start yesterday and still say Nasabi and pass us. I'm not around though, but man, the things I've been hearing in my ear. Let me give you people one thing. Let me say it again to you. You see, area council in Abuja is our local government. We call it area council. It has been for years like something that is left for the baggies. You cannot come to another man's land and then you think you want to be the author and the finisher of that person. Just the way you don't want people to come to your own land and come and overpower you. You can't do that. Whether this place is cosmopolitan, you must respect the owners of the place. It is the mindset of your sense that should work. This is a bad land, whether you like it or not. And that is the only thing they hold. That is the only thing they see as their own. So that thing, we that are non-indigenous, we have looked at it and okay.
This is what watching some of these shows can do to people. Even me, I'm saying, "Let's give me the bear." I want to read something to you from somebody from that area. His name is Dr. Gaza Kure. It says, "Dear Nigerians, ignore those loudly claiming the FCT elections were rigged." No, I don't want to read this one yet. No, we're going to get to this one. Number, I want to read what he said in the heat of the moment when people were voting. All of us, we learn this Nigeria. It's just quite interesting that you're not free to say that in Yoruba land, but people suddenly begin to have some sort of sense or clarity when it comes to other spaces, because you're right. You know, your land is the experiment. Your land is the laboratory where we can conduct experiments on how to detribalize Nigerians. Absolutely. It's rubbish. If I would be here for a bit, find that thing. I'll read it when I find it. Let me read it on verse. It says here, "Dear Nigerians, ignore mask their own shortcomings and failures. As a proud Baggy son, I am delighted to see our local communities united in genuine celebration, dancing and rejoicing to the rhythm of well-deserved victory as captured in the video below. Our unity as a people remains non-negotiable. The APC has firmly established itself in the FCT and is here to stay until further notice. Victory belongs to the people. Then it says here, this is what I'm looking for. There's another one, but I think this is also one of the things I wanted to read. Excuse me. It says, this election has reactivated the baggies all across the 6 states of Nigeria. Our silence is not stupidity, and it is now baggy first. Before anything, for those of you who want to work with us, better integrate with us completely or stay clear. Please. Peace. Not please, peace. That's what I was looking for. So let me read it again. This election has reactivated the baggies all across the 6 states of Nigeria. And it's true, baggies are not just in Abuja. The baggies in Niger State, the baggies in Southern Kaduna, the baggies in Abuja, of course, and other states, 6 states. Our silence is not stupidity, and it is now baggy first. Before anything, for those of you who want to work with us, better integrate with us completely or steer clear. Peace. Everybody is renewing now, apparently. Everybody is now, I mean, it's literally saying a baggy first. It's just quite interesting that nobody's calling them tribalists for saying that. But you say it as a Yoruba person, then everybody knows that you are. Why are you talking like this? Anyway, listen to, he referred to a video earlier. Let me play that video. People are dancing, you know, they have folks all around, you know, just happy, some of them holding brooms. Apparently there are APC folks there too as well. So you have, it's nice, I mean, people are happy, people are dancing. So what that means basically is this: you own your own space. Let nobody tell you are if I don't care. It doesn't mean anything. What's happening here is good. What sensible people do is that they get to a particular place, they integrate. Let me tell you one problem we have, because we will say, but constitutionally you can run. Let me tell you something. There's constitution, there's culture. If you move into a place and you integrate into the culture of the people and you become one of the people, most likely they may even be the ones who tell you to run. They will support you. I mean, and I've seen this particularly in Yoruba land. People that will come from other places and integrate and become one of the people. The issue that we've had in Nigeria is that folks that come from other places, they will say they are representing you, but what they are doing is that they are using your ticket to represent their own people from whence they came. In other words, you are here, but you are filling the spaces with your own folks from your land, wherever that is. So it's difficult for people to allow that to work. And I say it a lot. It was Peter Drucker that said it in response to strategy. It says culture eats strategy for breakfast. I say culture eats constitution for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's culture. If they discover that you don't care about their culture, and a lot of people are always shouting want to run in different parts of Nigeria, to be honest, they don't care about the people. It's just about ambition. They don't care. When you see people shouting, your people must open their lands, we own this place together, they don't care about the place. When have you ever seen any initiative to actually make the place better? They don't care. It's not like if something is happening, for instance, let's use Lagos as an example. When you want to talk about, oh, Lagos belongs to all of us, that's because you're talking about skyscrapers and opportunities. Mention the fact that some parts of Lagos are dirty and those things have to be fixed. You start hearing Lagos is smelly. Have you ever asked yourself, how come you, a Yoruba person, you're not even from Lagos, how come that thing pains you more than the person who came from another part of Nigeria who lives in Lagos, just like you? How come that statement, Lagos is smelling, how come it triggers something in you? You're not even from, you're not like you're from Zaleko or you're from Badagry, Korodu. You're maybe from, you're Ijebu. The reason is because we are connected. The Ijebu man in Ekwe, I think we should be saying these things. Let me say it this way. Lagos has Awori. It has Ijebu. It has Remo. It has Egun. Many groups. I just want to mention those ones for just as an example. So I'm going to just use the first three. When you look at the Awori, there's Awori in Lagos State. There's Awori in Ogun State. The Awori in Igbesa, here's what you are saying about Oshodi in Lagos and feel somehow about it because it's connected, even though it's not from Lagos State. Ijebu Ode is the seat, is the capital of Ijebu people, right? Or of Ijebu land. Okay, the king of Ijebu Ode is the paramount king of Ijebu land. But Ekpe is an Ijebu town, but it's in Lagos State, while Ijebu Ode is in Ogun State. So when the Ijebu man hears something you're saying about Ekpe, and it's like, even me that I'm not Ijebu, I'm Ife, I still feel like, why would you say that? Because there's that connection. Ikodu connected to Akarigbo, to Remo, Ishagam. The connections are there. The one who just happens to be here, he doesn't care. So when you hear, even you don't live in Lagos, you're not from Lagos, you just say that people are just shouting Lagos is smelling. Not to say, there are issues in every state. So if you acknowledge, there's nothing wrong in acknowledging the fact that we have challenges in Lagos, in your state, every part of Nigeria, to be honest. But let's even stay with you, Southwest. There are issues. But when you see a people who are mocking you, you know. Now, here's the crazy part. The person who mocks the land, who curses the land, who doesn't care about the land or its people, is the one who wants to represent the people because of constitutional rights. And when you say no, it says you are a bigot. If you believe what he's saying, it means you are not thinking straight. You don't care for this place. When we say this place is smelling, you join them to say, it's true. Come and see our drainage. It's open drainage all over Lagos. Everybody just dirty. Everybody just clean. They don't even know what they are doing. Once you begin to say they, you are authorizing the people, but you want to lead them. These are the facts. It's not about constitution. It's about culture. You don't respect even what the people are doing in the land, and you say it's backward. Everything they do is backward. Meanwhile, we go where you are coming from. There's nothing that's forward there. Obalufon. Well, I've said it several times. There are many Lagoses. There's Lagos, the city. There's Lagos, the capital of Nigeria. There's Lagos Island. There's Lagos Mainland. There's Lagos Island, the second one that goes all the way. Lagos Island is Aleko. There's another Lagos Island, like you just hear island. Island these days, you still get to Ekpe, they still say it's island, but another story. Then there's Lagos State. And they all mean different things. But when you go through the 5 divisions of Lagos, Ibile, Ikeja, Badagry, Korodu, Lagos Island, and Ekpe, the people there, they are connected with other Yoruba people in other states. And I think that if you are part of the people, if you join them, if you integrate, going back to what the Badin guy said, if you integrate and you become one of those people, and when you hear things like the society is not working, you feel like our society is not working, even though you're not from there originally. As long as you can't feel that thing, you are not worthy to be a counselor in that place. If you live in Ibadan, I don't care where you're from. I grew up in Ibadan. I say it a lot because I just like that city. Growing up in Ibadan, it's not like, I want Ibadan. You drink the water, you live in the city. Any issue that you find there is your own issue as well. When you live in Lagos, it's like, it's our problem. Not like you even have anything you want to do about it, but But whenever you have this feeling of see, look at what they are doing, you cannot represent those people. You just want your own ambition, and nobody cares about your ambition. People, someone has said that nobody cares what you know until they know that you care. Since you don't care, we don't care either. And a big gentleman, Dr. Mo, was the one representing ADC. Meanwhile, before you even listen to him, there's something somebody from ADC actually put out. I find funny. It's quite interesting. It says voices from many quarters are saying Dr. Mo failed because it wasn't an Abuja grassroots figure. As a Benue native, ceding a local government chairmanship to a non-local was seen as a slight against the indigenous people of Biafra. Indigenous people of Biafra call. I'll take it again. Voices from many. This guy is called Don Azar. He's one of the ATC guys. So he says here, let me read from the beginning. Dear Atiku Abubakar, voices from many quarters are saying Dr. Mo failed because he wasn't an Abuja grassroots figure. As a Benue native, ceding the local government chairmanship to a non-local was seen as a slight against the indigenous people of Abuja. The ADC chose a candidate based on familiarity rather than the ethnic realities of local elections. A slap in the face to the Aboriginals. How come ADC guys now know what Aborigines and indigenous people, they suddenly know what those things mean? It's quite interesting. Anyway, it goes on to say the same logic applies to 2027. Southern Nigeria waited for the North to complete its tenure under Buhari. Winning elections depends on many factors, as seen with Dr. Mo, and the national stage is no different. The South has not completed its 8-year term. If you truly love Nigeria and the ADC, let the party feel the South now. Do not interrupt the cycle. This is blackmail. The claim that only you can defeat Tinubu has not been demonstrated in your many years of running. If you insist on running against this moral arrangement, we will remind you why the ADC lost and why you will fail in 2027. We will pin it to this single act of defiance. If your goal is simply to see your name on the ballot rather than to win, then we congratulate Ashiwaju in advance. This is nonsense. It's essentially blackmail. Blackmail. But the point is that at least they are beginning to see stuff. They're beginning to see stuff. And it's interesting that the lesson is coming from Abuja. It's even nice. It's nice. You know why? Because if you talk now, they'll say Lagos was capital. And I've said it several times. Lagos State was never the capital of Nigeria. At no time was Lagos State the capital of Nigeria. Lagos, that was capital of Nigeria, was Lagos Island, some parts of Ikoyi, all the way down to Yabajibo. That was it. Anything above outside that place, we were in Western region. In Western region, right? What you see in Lupeju, all those industrial estates were developed by Western region. Ikeja, Western region, Ikorodu. There are 5 divisions in Lagos. Only one was the seat of the capital of Nigeria. Badagry wasn't. Ikeja wasn't. Ikorodu was not. Ekpe wasn't. All right. And beautiful thing is that Western region had, presence in all those divisions, including Lagos Island itself. Okay, but the point is, when you speak about, see what's happening in Lagos, this is how the indigenous people want it to be. They say, it used to be the capital of Nigeria. Well, at least that one is used to be. This one is the capital, and people are suddenly discovering that, there's a way you actually treat aboriginals. I like the English. It's quite nice. Everybody will be all right. We're going to learn. We're going to learn. If this is going to succeed, if they're going to succeed in getting this to, if they're going to succeed in using this to get Atiku Abubakar to drop his ambition, then that'll be interesting. But we'll see how that goes. But for me, I think it's blackmail. We'll see how that goes. Someone said Aboriginal is the derogatory word. I like indigenous. I like autochthonous. But I think that's what he chose to use. Anyway, to Dr. Mo now. Dr. Mo, by the way, I think they had 7 votes in his region. But And by the way, all this social media thing, hopefully people will learn that being popular on social media does not necessarily guarantee you votes. You have to be known amongst the people. You have to have street cred, or at least be surrounded by those who have street cred. If I want to do politics now, you will mix with people that on a normal day you probably be doing. Nobody cares about the book that you have read. You have to worry resile. Now you be speaking English and be acting like you have the word in your hands. What is that thing I want to play for you guys? Give me a second. You have been so good to me. Marilita, Mirimo. Everybody will be alright. We'll go and learn. I'm going to come back to Lagos very soon because we're going to talk about abandoned properties. And the reason I'm talking about abandoned properties is because somebody actually challenged me, saying that his father's, or maybe their ancestors' lands were taken over in Yoruba land because of what happened during the war. And I said I'm going to talk about it today. I responded to the person, but I felt I should also bring it out here, live. Anyway, I'm looking for something. Before we find what I'm looking for, I'll just tell you about Ojaja, the king, Oni Risha, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi Enito Ogunwusi Ojaja the second has launched a new brand of drinks, Ojaja. It's called Ojaja. So there's Ojaja Cola, there's Ojaja Orange, Whiskey Cola, Vodka, bitters, Ojaja bitters. This is quite nice. So let's patronize. It's so nice. Like, but we're not chasing so that at the end of Ramadan is Ituno. Ojaja drinks. Okay, so Oni launched a new brand. And it's beautiful. Vodis Copy says, are they the owner? Yes, he is the owner of Ojaja Mall as well. Yes. Kabesi has, there's a big mall in Akure as well. There's one in Ife. And yes, there's a Ojaja Mall in Lagos. So yes, patronize. And folks should also reach out to them. I don't know a lot about how to become a distributor or something, but you can research on it and support this. It's going to be nice, and I'm very happy because a lot of people are going to start working. There's a video I saw online, people using forklift and the old factory. This is not fake product. This is not somebody using chemical or chemical. What's a chemical? I'm a science student. This one is not science student. This one is proper factory, and it's beautiful to see that happening, and I think we should all support it. All right, someone on YouTube, Abiola Olajumobi, says, I'm based in England. Places smell like shit. Let me leave the last T. I mean, there are many places that smell, right? New York smells. And if it smells, it's probably because it's most likely because we make it smell. That was the truth. Anyway, let's leave the smelling thing. We'll read that later. But let me focus on Ojaja. Ojaja has launched, the king has launched a new brand of drinks. Please get the drinks. You're going to like it. I've not even tasted it, but it's all new. So it might make sense. All right. Having said that, let's move. I found the video I was looking for earlier of Dr. Mo while he was preparing for the election and what he said after the election. Take a listen to this.
This is not Obiakpo. You can't write votes in Amak. He cannot. Somebody should tell the minister that Dr. Mo says that the will of the people will count. On Saturday, there's going to be a new Amak where boldness, objectivity, decisiveness, and fearlessness will take center stage. This is not Obiakpo.
He's talking about the FCT minister's constituency back home in River State, and he's bold about how they are going to win everything. Let's listen again, and then we'll listen to what he said after the election.
This is not Obiakpo. You can't write votes in Amak. She cannot. Somebody should tell the minister that Dr. Mo says that the will of the people will count. On Saturday, there's going to be a new Amak where boldness, objectivity, decisiveness, and fearlessness will take center stage. This is not Obiakpo.
And this is the guy after the election. This is not but this is the gentleman after the election.
High voter apathy in most of the locations because Amak is home to about 1.7, there are about million people with 1.2 million registered voters. I mean, in my polling units were less than 10, you know, even though I won my polling unit, but the voter apathy is not too good, you know. Of course, we have areas where you have trade mall and other places where you have high voter turnout, but overall it's still very low compared to the number of the registered voters. And yeah, relatively peaceful, even though some of my agents were beaten. In places like Orozo, my people were disenfranchised, not allowed to vote in some of the villages. It was like with the enter places in Kabusa. I was on ground, you know, after I finished voting just to see for myself, so it's not hearsay, you know. So while I think we are evolving as a people, because we carried out a very robust campaign, people all over the world practically knew about the election, which is something that is good. But the participation, you know, is something that is personally is worrisome for for an election, you know, like Amak.
Who were those you said a bit of
The ruling party, I mean, straight up, the ruling party were intimidating people, and there was a huge vote buying, you know, across the different wards. You know, we have them on video, and of course we'll be releasing all of that. Some of them, you know, so all of that, you know, criminality, you know, contributing to making the electioneering process not, you know, as credible as it should be in the most important local council in Nigeria. You would have expected a more highly, you know, but again, when a chieftain of the ADC just a few days ago, you know, spoke.
Ola says the guy was beaten blue black by the indigenous people. May God forgive you. This is not Obiakpo. I'm sure it's not Obiakpo. 7 votes in his polling unit. That's quite nice. At least he won, so that's good. Let's move on to other things. You're laughing. It's not funny. Guys talking. People just say some funny things sometimes. Anyway, his what's it called? His principal. Now I need to read it. I need to play this in 1 second. Just 1 second, guys. Please oblige me. I don't like when I go with David going like, I mean, he really tried just saying some interesting things. Anyway, his principal was on Bob is laughing. I think that's my new catchphrase. I watched this stuff last week and I was like, these guys are funny. Anyway, another person that is going to be Adebe is Dr. Mo's principal, Peter Obi. I'd like you to take a listen to him.
China. Let me tell you, China. China went back to China. Hong Kong. Let me tell you, China. Hong Kong. Let me tell you, China.
China. I've told you now. This year I'll be playing Tinubu a lot, but I have to show you the alternative. I have to show you the alternative, so that doesn't look like we're one-sided. We'll play the alternative. You now choose ye this day whom you will vote. I'll play one more thing from him, but before then, there's something that okay, I'll play that. Then I'll play the president. Take a listen, please.
Alive. This was not right news. Penny Panica, they once said, "I'd rather die than to join the APC." Some of our mutual friends have been asking me, "Is he still alive?" Now that he has joined the APC, Governor Bello Mohammed Matawale said, "May God punish him if he ever leaves the PDP." He was one of those people who left the PDP and moved to the APC. Former Governor Rotimi Amechi said, "I will not join these people who carry brooms like witches over my dead body," where he too has been carrying brooms all over the place. And your good self, you were one of those people who promised not to cross from one party to the other, but you did. This is a quote from you. "I will never leave ABGA. I'd rather quit politics. PDP is a curse to the Southeast." And you ran on the platform of the PDP along with Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who also at a point said, "I will never go back to the PDP. PDP is beyond redemption." He's back in the PDP now. So why are politicians always eating their own vomit?
He was smiling when they were throwing shades at other politicians, and then when they asked him his own question, it was just rigmaroling. But we're not going to listen to his stuff. Instead of listening to all of that, which will not really edify us, let's hear from somebody who actually knows what he's doing. This is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Take a listen, please.
I won't go to the rest. But right back, I won't go to the rest. But right back to the revenue, your savings from oil subsidy. You have an increased revenue. You have a gap there, right? Right back. Your pig exchange rate into the revenue. You are not borrowing. Make your oil competitive. Attract foreign investment. If you attract foreign investment with incentives, you have expanded base of money coming in. All you have is a deferred tax period. A creative mind is a fertile land for growth.
Talking about, now that you've brought up, this oil revenue, foreign direct investment, can we discuss a bit more about how you intend to drive direct foreign investment into Nigeria? This is critical to economic growth, and we're at a period when this has faded, and this is part of the reasons why we have some of these challenges.
Yeah, a beautiful lady. And the problem is talking about age to women. So I don't know how old you are when we started PIA. Look at how many years it took us to conclude on it. No, you don't accept that. That is not growing a nation. Look at the bottleneck on the PIA itself. The one that we have right now, untie the bottleneck. Make accelerated action. You have proposals you submit today, you must have a timeline for the approval of that project. If I know as an investor that I'm giving you this proposal and expected a return within the next 3-4 weeks, and I get it, it's calendarized, I will bring my money. The more money you have, the more comfortable you become. And you can promote those ideas. There is bureaucratic bottleneck in the establishment. I'm not given to it. I've not worked for government before. I guide the government. I was the governor of Lagos State. That's my first public life government. Deloitte and training, good university education, Deloitte training, ExxonMobil, Auditor General, ExxonMobil, Treasurer. At the time that we are craving and dying of foreign exchange, I don't know what is my luck, that I come time again, foreign exchange problem. But we survived. I remit all our dividends. We completed that building without 2% variation. Look at Falomo LSDPC building. It wasn't complete, completed about 10 years later. And we started at the same time. Efficiency, transparency. I didn't receive from Julius Baja a notepad to say thank you. I didn't make any demand. Okay. But I'm not one of those treasurers that got into trouble. You know how many of them go and research. Clean, transparent, and honest.
I decided to be playing these videos from time to time so that we know exactly who we voted for and we know the benchmark, like what exactly this was going to do. Is it doing those things? Can we ask questions? So he mentioned, for instance, the oil and gas industry, and then he put out something about that last week, I think. I'm going to read that to you. Okay. Oh dear, there's something I found here. If I tell you what I'm looking at, you find it funny. Otugbe is the video I'm seeing. Can you imagine? There's a post that President Tinubu put out last week. Okay, I found it. It says effective February 13, 2026. So this was a while back, but he put out the statement about 5 days ago. Dear Nigerians, effective February 13, 2026, I signed an executive order to restore what belongs to the Nigerian people. For too long, excessive deductions, overlapping funds, and structural distortions in the oil and gas sector have weakened remittances to the Federation account, trapped in layers of charges and retention mechanisms development suffers. That must end. Nine of 2026 Presidential Executive Order to Safeguard Federation Oil and Gas Revenues and Provide Regulatory Clarity 2026, which has not been gazetted. All royalty oil, tax oil, profit oil, the additional 30% management fee and the 30% frontier exploration deduction will no longer stand in the way of national revenue. Our objective is transparency, accountability, and full constitutional compliance. Oil and gas revenue must serve the Nigerian people first, and this reform is about fairness and fiscal responsibility. As we strengthen national security, invest in education, expand healthcare, stabilize the economy, and advance our energy transition, every legitimate naira due to the Federation must be protected. NNPC Limited will operate strictly as a commercial enterprise and as intended under law. The era of duplicative deductions and fragmented oversight is over. It says other things like our administration would also undertake a comprehensive review of the Petroleum Industry Act to address structural and fiscal anomalies. And I like the thing he said here where he said Nigeria can no longer afford leakage where there should be leadership. We're safeguarding the federal account, we're strengthening our budget, we're acting in the national interest. This was my promise to Nigerians when I asked for this job. Nigeria first. Thank you all, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This is a lot for many people, but I'm going to just break it down. What does it really mean? So I found something that explains everything without having to talk too much about it. Before now, all money meant for the federal government, state government, local government, all of that money was getting stuck in, there's fees for this and deductions for that. And so money wasn't getting to where it should get to. So it was trapped. Essentially, like what they've been saying for a while, there are cabals everywhere. Well, apparently in the oil and there are also cabals. And one of the things that actually help you get into the knowledge of that, two things actually. Number one was what happened after the subsidy removal. The fact that certain interests or certain people actually have their interests protected in the continuation of the subsidy regime. The second part was what Aliko Dangote said when he got into oil and gas, and he said that the cabal in the oil and gas sector was, he would say, may even be stronger than that of the drug cartels. So essentially, there are people who would corner money that was supposed to get to the federation account that you are supposed to benefit from as a citizen. So they're saying that it gets stuck. I mean, the president is saying that these funds get stuck in fees and deductions before reaching the account. So they can remove cut before anything happens. So by the time money reach the account, it should be 60%. People could just get to Nigerian account because they could come out different things in the name of fees and all kinds of deductions. So what the president is saying right now is that every single thing goes directly to the federation account first, right? And then the government will decide what goes where, how much goes to this and how much goes to that. So you're not going to deduct before sending the money to the federation account. The federal government will take the money and then allocate to whatever they're supposed to do. So this is essentially plugging holes, and it goes directly to actually as worked as something so general, not China went to China. But this is quite nice, and I'm happy that this is happening in our day. There are other things, but I'm going to move very, very quickly. The Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Wale Edun, on Friday disclosed that a forensic audit of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited is ongoing as part of efforts to scrutinize oil revenue deductions and boost remittances into the Federation account. What this means basically is that the money that Nigeria is making is not actually let me put it this way, the money that Nigeria should be making is not getting to Nigeria because certain people or powers that be or leakages exist draining that money. So this is actually good news, but we're waiting for more information from that place. But I would like to play you something that I find very shocking. It's from the president of Pengasan, Professor Susifo on the matter that the president wrote on earlier. Take a listen to this.
Executive order that was signed by the president yesterday is in direct attack of the provisions of the PIA. The provisions of the PIA are Section 8 of the PIA, Section 9 of the PIA, and Section 64 of the PIA. It's a direct attack. What the president has done is that he has used an executive order to set aside a law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. That is exactly, and this is quite troubling. The investors. What are we telling the international community? What is the signaling that we are sending out there? That just with an executive order, you can set aside the law of the land. This is an aberration. This should never have happened.
If you know more about this bill, if you know more about this executive order, please feel free to come and explain to us. But by now you probably know I do have a thing for let me not say I have a thing for them, but I'm very wary and very careful when I listen to labor unions, not because I don't like workers, but because I have PTSD. I have PTSD from 2007 when the sale of refineries was reversed. So I have PTSD. When labor union guys speak, for the most part, it doesn't look to me like they care about the country. And that's my opinion about it. And I've told you several times, and I'll probably still talk about it, the fact that when they reverse that, I just feel like these guys were shouting about how Nigeria has to do something, government was doing the wrong thing, Yar'Adua had to reverse the sales. And then 19 years later, not a drop of oil has come out of those refineries, but the people have been paid salaries. Those who retired have been paid gratuity. They are collecting pensions. 19 years later, nothing has happened in that place. So I'm not very... Maybe when Oshomole was there, I had a different vibe, to be honest, when he was NLC chairman. But generally speaking, I'm very careful, very wary of unions. And so the question is, he's saying, what will investors say? Investors know what investors want, right? And the point is, I really still don't get it. And this is not a law, by the way. Thank you very well. It's not in the constitution, but it's also a law. It's a law. Again, I'm not an expert in that field, so if you are an expert, when the time comes, please feel free to come up and explain. But I don't know if he's actually speaking for the country or for the people. I don't really get it, to be honest. I want to read somebody's explanation of this. It says the Petroleum Industry Act does not give NNPC unlimited first charge over federation revenue. It made it commercial, not untouchable. An executive order cannot override a law, true, but directing how revenues are remitted within constitutional bounds is not cancelling the act. It is enforcing transparency. Investors care about clarity, cash flow, certainty, and rule stability. Direct remittance to FAAC, that's FAC, strengthens accountability. That is not a dangerous precedent. It is basic fiscal discipline. Calling reform an attack every time the old system is adjusted is tired. Oil money is not union property. It belongs to Nigerians. That's from AO Captain on X. And I think it's something I'll rather listen to this person. Again, I have a thing for people who talk passion, but don't really care about the nation. So it's simply saying that whatever money you make, the remittances. He also talked about the electoral bill that has now been signed into law. And this is President Bola Ahmed Tinubu talking about that. and I think you should also listen to him again. Take a listen to our president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
I followed keenly what you are doing. The essence of democracy is to have, very solid brainstorming discussions committed to national development and nation building, the stability of the nation. It's not as important as the history aspect of this. What is crucial is the fact that you manage the process to the extent there will be no confusion, no disenfranchisement of Nigerians, and that we are all going to see democracy flourish. It is time that we have confidence in our system. No matter how good a system is, it's managed by the people, promoted by the people, and the result is finalized by the people. In fact, for final results, you are not going to be talking to the computer, you are going to be talking to human beings who will announce the final results. And when you look at the crux of various arguments, maybe Nigeria should question our broadband capability. How technically are we today? How technically will we be tomorrow to answer the call of, either read time or no? And as long as you appear personally as a manual voter in any polling booth, but ballot paper is given to you manually, you decide in a corner and fingerprint, thumbprint the party of your choice, you cast your vote without hindrance and any interference. Ballots are subsequently counted manually, sorted and counted manually. It's just the arithmetic accuracy that is entered into from easy 80. It's still manual. Transmission of that manual result is what we're looking at. And we need to avoid glitches. I'm glad you did. Interference, unnecessary hacking in this age of, computer inquisitiveness. Nigeria will be there. We will flourish. We will continue to nurture this democracy for the fulfillment of our dream for prosperity and stability of our country. I thank all of you very much.
Well, that was the president speaking while signing the electoral bill into law. And what he was talking about essentially has to do with this whole thing about real-time transmission of results. And I think, and I mentioned this last time, that I think a lot of people are making a mountain out of a molehill. The idea that you want transmission of results in real time, presupposes that not sharing votes as they're voting, you're getting the results and all of those things. And I don't think what the law now is not just a bill anymore. What the law is saying is not that they will not transmit, it's making it optional. In other words, it's not mandatory. 1 second, please. 1 second, please. All right. So essentially, they're not saying that they're not going to use electronic transmission. They're just saying that it's going to be, it shouldn't have to be mandatory. It's going to be optional. So when I saw people campaigning and protesting, and I was like, what's the issue? It must be real time. What's real time? You will vote with ballot paper. They will collate the paper. This is not electronic voting. They will collate the paper. They will now be writing it there. So as you're writing, you will now see they'll now transmit it electronically, which makes sense. But when you say in real time, I think the only problem was about real time, and people are making a lot of fuss over it. That's how they said beavers the other day. And then they were saying beavers means basic value added. Then it just went off. I don't know if you've seen that video. I'll find it for you guys later. That was Peter just talking about basic value. They don't even understand what they are fighting for. That's the point. Anyway, the president was at a meeting last week. This one I've been waiting to talk about. Was at a meeting last week where traditional rulers gathered, and you would have expected that what you'd be hearing would be wisdom at the highest level. But I have a picture here of the president laughing, and then people around him also laughing based on something that somebody said. Someone will expect a lot of, we didn't get what we expected from that. The speech you must have heard, but just in case you haven't, this man is some call him Igwe, some people call him Eze, so I think that means king of some sort. Anyway, oh dear, very good. 1 second. Okay. All right. So some people call him Eze, some people call him Igwe. It was at the national summit in Abuja with other kings, and this is what he has. This man's name is Dr. Lawrence Okolio Chikeze Agubuzu. He's a king from. Excuse me, someone is complaining about sound. 1 second, please. Hello? I hope it's better now. That sound you're hearing, is it, if it's not noise, don't worry. Isn't sound okay? Just to be clear, before we get into this, I want to be sure, because you're going to have fun with this one. Can you hear me properly, everyone? Okay, thank you. All right, so this man is some people call him Igwe, some people call him Eze, of some place in the eastern region. His name is Dr. Lawrence Okolio Chikeze Agubuzu. Let's hear him out. Take a listen, please. And thank you for the feedback in the comment section. Take a listen to the king and what he had to say. This man had the opportunity to say stuff. It depends on the president, and this is what he thought the nation needed to hear from him. But take a listen, please.
The President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, DCFR, the Secretary to the Session, the distinguished Senator George Akume, Your Royal Highnesses, Your Royal Majesties, I want to end the protocol here. Your Excellency, we have come to Abuja today, and we've seen the crowd. The only thing I can remember is when President Jonathan was president of Nigeria, he called the 2014 National Conference, and the hall used to be full like this. But this one is fuller. There are more people. So you have scored a first. by bringing the largest crowd to this place. We've been committed to the health of our people. But having come now to Abuja and listened to Professor Mohammed Pate and his team, we are now more committed. So the traditional rulers of Nigeria will now go home and work harder than before. But I must tell you, Mr. President, that personally, I don't feel very happy because you were not here in the morning. There were several speeches. We listened carefully. I listened to the opening address by His Imperial Majesty, the Oni of Ife. And he was gingering all of us to work as a family, to work as a team, to see Nigeria as one. And then I felt maybe this is good. But when you look at it, this same Imperial Majesty is arranging to confer a very high honor on Sunday Igboho, who in my own part of Nigeria in the southeast, we see him as a counterpart of Nnamdi Kanu. And my brother, fellow royal father, the Imperial Majesty, does not seem to understand the pain in my heart when Nnamdi Kanu is in Sokoto. So, sir, the ball stops on your court. Bring this man out. If we don't want him in Nigeria, return him to Kenya or London, where they took him from. You see, some of us here have been asked to go and work, but the young people in the Southeast are so agitated. They can even beat us. They see us as sellouts. We come to Abuja, they may think we come to collect money. And then we keep quiet. So, sir, please do something about this. Do something about this. We cannot make progress in this country if we don't tell ourselves the home truth. There's no way. There's no way. Now, again, they were talking about Southern Traditional Rulers Committee on Health. And the eminent professor Patel was saying that this will become an annual event, what we are doing today, if I heard him correctly. The truth of the matter is that there is nothing like Southern Traditional Rulers Council. If you come here and give money to people on that basis, it's not correct. It's not the North. We have a system. We need unity in diversity. So that people, so if you want to deal with us in the Southeast. If you have resources for us, give it to us. Don't give it to people who come and say, we are Southern Traditional Rulers Council. Democracy is a representative government. And anybody who goes to present himself without his people is not democratic. So get it. We think that we will do our best. Mr. President, we are going to support this head. Do all we can, but please listen to our cries. May God bless all of us.
A king had an opportunity to talk about whatever in the presence of the president. Could ask him for anything. People who have complained about different things in their regions, they want to break out of the nation. They want what's the word now? They complain about different things, even though we know that most of them are complaining about wash. Anyway, he had the opportunity to make his case before the president, and the thing he decides to talk about is Sunday Igboho. We'll talk about that. There are two things he raised. Number one, the fact that they should take this guy to Kenya after the court has already sentenced him. He's learning law in Sokoto because Omotosho does not know the law. The other one is about the Southern Traditional Council. I want us to treat the one where Kabesi actually spoke, and then we'll talk about the whole Sunday Igboho thing later. So let's start with this one. The idea of traditional council, let's even assume that you don't agree with that. As a king, you know that there's a time and place for everything. So this is the forum to actually tell the world that we're not united though. We are different people though. And when you say traditional rulers in the Southeast, since when did you begin to have traditional rulers in the Southeast? I mean, the first set literally were made by the British, the Warren Chiefs. So this idea that you have, it's about money. Did they give you give that money to get to you, and it didn't get to you because to some people, because some people are doing whatever they want to, but we can't talk about it because apparently we're talking about kings. But let's listen to a king talk about this, because that will to be a lot better. This is the Oni Adeyeye Ogunwusi speaking on that matter. I think it's better to listen to him then, because so sometimes you have the opportunity to say what you want to say in public, right? But because of your position and because of the way order and structure work, you just don't say certain things in certain spaces. Not that what you want to say, you don't have the right to say it, but you don't want to be seen as the one breaking ranks. But it doesn't really matter, because, I mean, if you don't understand the idea of structure and hierarchy. But here's the Oni speaking on that matter. Take a listen, please.
Excellency President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, CFR, because we have never experienced such a summit to bring faith leaders and traditional leaders from all the walks of Nigeria together to address the health issues of our country. We are the closest to our people, and it's very important now for us to do collaboration, for us to complement our political leaders. It's never done before in Nigeria. It's a very vast summit, and the take home is we all need to partner with the political leaders, political institutions, to get the best for our citizenry. So for us, we, the Southern traditional rulers, we have come together to continue to support the belief, and we have issued our commitment to the President and also the Ministry of Health in terms of the great things that we have actually achieved today. And for us, we stand as one. Southern Traditional Council is very optional. You don't need to join us if you don't want to join us. But it's a force, a formidable force among traditional institutions for us to come together. And we are all reputable in all our domains. You can see all of us, because one of us made a speech that there's nothing like that. We don't agree to that. But our president is there. We don't want any impression that there's division. We don't want to take out Southeast. We have Israel here. Israel Chukwu is one of a very prominent traditional ruler in Southeast. We have Obinugu here. We have a lot of Southeastern traditional rulers that were working together for the betterment of the country. So for us, it's something that is key to let the whole world know that if you don't want to be part of us, you can option your suggestion out. And please, we implore each and every one of us to focus more on news that are of quality, not social media and rumors. This is one of the major things affecting our country. Thank you.
You know, if you don't want to have the Southeast to be part of what they're doing, I think they should let the Southeast, do it on their own. So if you don't want to be part of it, I think it's fine. Like, literally, it's nice. It's just that you're not going to become a co-chairman of anything. What do you even know what? Let me tell you something. If you understand what traditional what being a traditional ruler means, you will not say that in public. You won't. You can be against, I mean, there are certain things that you'll be against as a leader. You just don't say it in certain contexts, in certain spaces. But back to the second one now, this is what I want to really talk about. So the man could have asked for anything, could have asked for Biafra, which would make sense, to be honest. Maybe find a way to tell their representatives in the National Assembly to begin to push that bill for inclusion of secession clause or whatever you could ask for. But he asked for Kanu. So the question is this: all the thing about Kanu killing his own people and all the things that happened, the atrocities in the southeastern region, did it not happen? This is the case of the tail wagging the cat or the dog. In other words, you are led by what the people are saying. Balotelli says the Igbos hate Busuye. I'm very sure there are some that like me. I don't mind being hated, to be honest, because it doesn't take anything from me. It had nothing. It removed your love. Those who say they hate me, their love doesn't add anything to me. Their hate doesn't remove anything from me. I cannot remove anything from me, or even remove me at all. So, but to be honest, I love everybody, including Igbos. I love everyone. It's just that something has to be said. So, you are creating a situation where, back to what I was saying. So all the things they've said about what Kanu did, you're saying it doesn't really matter, because according to him, if they go back home, the people will say that, oh, you know, they've gone to collect money in Abuja. Are you leading the people based on what the people want or based on what is right? Because listen, as a leader, sometimes what people want is not what they need. And the leader knows exactly what should be done. And I'll give you an example. When he mentioned Sunday Igboho, by the way, Sunday Igboho and Kanu are not the same. The comparisons make no sense, regardless of who is comparing. People should stop. And this is the thing. You see young people do this on social media. The elders do the same thing. It's sad. Where'd you go for wisdom? Saying is his counterpart. Counter what? How? Sunday Igboho did not have a security network that was terrorizing his own people. He didn't have to sit at home on Mondays. Everybody don't go to work. Just essentially committing atrocities all over the place. He didn't do all of those things. He defended his people. Yes, he did. But he didn't see him go all around the place and constitute nuisance. And even then, he wasn't pampered by the government. He was under house arrest in Benin Republic for a while, and Nigerian delegations or Nigerian delegates were actually there in court. This whole idea of comparison doesn't really make so much sense. But you know what? Let's start by, I keep saying let's start. Let me read something to you from the presidency. This is from Sunday Dare and is President Tinubu's media aide. He says, this is actually, I'm going to read from Yoruba Times. Tinubu's aide, Sunday Dare, draws clear line between Kanu and Igboho. One crossed into armed rebellion, the other remained defensive. The presidency has firmly rejected any comparison between Nnamdi Kanu and Sunday Igboho, with presidential spokesman Sunday Dare detailing stark differences in their methods and consequences. According to Dare, Kanu's IPOB movement engaged in insurrection and armed confrontation, resulting in over 700 deaths and economic paralysis in the southeast through violent sit-at-home enforcement and attacks on security forces. In contrast, Igboho's activism focused on defending Yoruba communities against criminal headers through peaceful advocacy and self-defense, without establishing militias or ordering attacks on state forces. Who said a number of heads must be buried with another, alongside somebody that they wanted to bury one time like that? Dare concluded that public discourse should stop equating the two. The context, methods, and consequences are fundamentally different. I'll see if I can find you the full the full stuff from Sunday Diary on this matter. But the point is, comparing these two makes no sense. I think people do that because, and this is what a lot of people do, and you can fill in the gaps. If you want to look at yourself and make yourself happy, you're like, that person is also doing it, so we are the same. So it's not really about what you're doing or fixing what you're doing. It's about feeling comfortable in what you're doing because someone else is doing it. Even if they're not doing what exactly you're saying they're doing. You just have to make it up to look like you can't blame me now. Another person is also doing it. Give me a second. Let me look for the full text. The idea basically is that the presidency is already telling you they are not the same. Okay? And you wouldn't expect the king to be the one actually pushing that kind of narrative. Right? Someone says they can compare Kanu to Shekau or Toji. Yes. And I don't think people really understand. Listen, and I've said it before, when Sunday Igboho, he's celebrated among Yoruba people, because he stood up at a point when people really needed help, especially the farmers, folks being attacked by herders. But when you have a person like, even you that you are the king of wherever you are, you can't even control nobody can tell him anything. He is the king of everybody because that's what the people want. You can't be a leader based on what people want. The people can want something and you still go against it. So there are people that were shouting Sunday Igboho was Kiniko, and Europe were like, no, this one you are going beyond the boundaries. Like, you've got to. And what did he do? Because he's also a responsible person, he apologized. Doesn't change the fact that he did what was wrong, but at least he had the mind to actually apologize. And the people that he apologized to were also instrumental to helping him, get the pardon or whatever he got now, that he can now move freely in Nigeria. But you have a situation where everybody panders towards whoever the people are celebrating at the moment. We all pander towards that person. We are serving that person until we find another person. Nnamdi Kanu is another savior. Holy, holy, holy. Don't worry. I think what this shows personally to me is that you may not be able to expect too much from certain quarters if people, the average man on the street is sounding exactly like the king, especially if what they're saying is not well thought out. It's not good. It's sad. Because, okay, so I can make mistakes now. You can say, let's go and look at the elders, these Yoruba elders. Maybe they have something that will be wise, because, sorry, to say to Busui and correct. Anybody can make mistakes. So imagine I make a mistake. You now go to my elders, like mistake, and everybody makes mistakes, right? You now go to Yoruba elders and say, I say what Busui has said, and it's actually a mistake, or not that you're offended. If you're offended, I don't care. People can take offense at the truth. That's your problem. It's not offense. You're not taking offense. It's just wrong. Maybe I said something that you don't think is right. And you take the elders, and the elders also cannot say something to correct me, because all the kings in Yoruba land have to listen to me. Listen, even if I'm right, and this is where I think wisdom begins to play a role. Even if you are right, there are times when fathers, leaders, they don't even have to be kings. Kings, businessmen, they could tell you, stop. And even if you're going to continue, you now begin to make a case for what you are doing before them. Not that you need them, but you have to now make a case for them because they're your fathers. Even when you are right, let alone when you are wrong. Let me tell you one story. One time, I put up a post. I'm still looking for that story. If I find it, if I don't find it, I think we've already read or want to read anyway. I put out a post. It was nice, to be honest. It was good. There was nothing wrong with it. One man that was my pastor, I left that church about 26 years ago. The man sent me a message. It was on social media. It was on Instagram. He sent me a message. I mean, there's nothing wrong with what I posted. I can't even tell you. It was theologically sound. It was culturally relevant. There's nothing wrong with it. And then he said, he said something in the comment section and essentially disapproving. I mean, I could leave it there if I had the time to go make my case and explain to him what I was actually explaining, but I didn't have the time, so I just removed it. It hasn't killed me. I removed it. I didn't even go to explain anything. I just removed it. Why? Because he said something about it's not even my. It wasn't like it's not even somebody that is pastor. It was many years ago. I think the last time 25, 26 years ago, thereabout. The point is, and I've said this several times, and it's a lesson for all of us as well. If you're a man or a woman that nobody can correct, you are a danger to yourself. It does not matter if everybody likes you. It does not matter if everybody celebrates you. If no one can correct you, you're a danger to yourself. So I think it's a lesson that we should all learn. It's just sad that kings will say what regular people who you don't expect much from on the street will say and say, oh, let me even play you something from Igbo before we bring people up. Sunday Igbo is the same thing as Kano, and they should return him to Kenya. The same one that was telling the judge that he doesn't know law. Anyway, this is Sunday Igbo talking about those who say you should not praise Tinubu. Take a listen. If you're holy. All right, let's listen to Sunday Igbo. Mambo.
Local government. This state Lambaja. Agbìyànjú agbára wa wò ní bàbá jẹlọ ibi bàbá sì ti jẹlọ náà tọ́lọ́sì bàbá bàbá wa kẹ́kẹ́ wa wọ́n wá ní ọmọ wa ní ọ́ bó ti jẹ́ pàfi lọ wọ́n gbà tá à ń ṣe ń gbà yẹn tí wọ́n tún wá bínú pé àfi lọ àwọn tó rà ń bú wọn gbà yẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ mọ yọba táwọn.
To do this, but I think it's good that we're doing it. You know, you hear what he said? He said that if he had succeeded, that would have been nice. And now they haven't succeeded yet. You have to work with what you have. And then he mentioned something very important. He said God has blessed him with fathers and kings, and they're the ones who are actually doing everything to help him, even though when he started, it did not involve them. And then he said something very interesting. He said, do you know how many kings we insulted? Now, the insult has brought fire. Please. Please give me a second. I need to just sort out the power. Timothy saw that, so no sound. Hey, yeah, sorry about that. Sorry about that. So I was saying, I apologize for the break in transmission. It was due to a technical glitch. 1 second. I don't even know if this thing is doing well. All right. So sorry about that. Technical issues, but we're good now. So we're talking about Sunday Igboho and what he said. He said, do you know how many kings we insulted? When they started, they were, you know how it's exuberance, to be honest, exuberance. We're just insulting everybody. You know more than everybody. You insult them. You are still coming back to them to help get you out of urgency. But at least I can learn for so the fathers, you know.
Agbára mi ó ju agbára mi lọ kábíyèsí ọlọ́run odidi orílẹ̀-èdè là ń bá jà orílẹ̀-èdè kan là ń bá jà kí ṣe local government pẹ̀lú state là ń bá jà local government ní agbìyànjú agbára wa wò ní bàbá jẹ lọ ibi bàbá sì ti jẹ lọ náà tọ́lọ́ sí bàbá wa kẹ́kẹ́ wa wọ́n wá ní ọmọ wa ní ọ́ bó ti ẹ̀jẹ̀ pàfi lọ wọ́n gbà dáhùn sí gbà yẹn tí wọ́n tún wá bínú pé àfi lọ àwọn tó rà ń bú wọn gbà yẹn bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ẹ mọ yọba sáà ẹ̀jẹ̀ tèmi bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe ń bú wọn lèmi tí wọ́n jẹ́ ní ẹ̀mí. ọ̀jẹ̀ gbóná àbọ̀ ẹni ká má bù wọ́n àwọn bàbá wa ní pé ọmọ bá ṣe bàbá ọmọ ní ó ṣe sọ́ọ̀rì tí bàbá bá ṣe ọmọ náà oníburúkú bàbá láyé gbọ́dọ̀ lọ ọmọ wọ́n aláwọ̀ bàbá dáadáa abẹ wọn sì gbọ́ wọ́n wá kó wa wọ́n dà wá pọ̀ mọ́mọ́tọ́ wọ́n wá ní ká wọn ṣe bó ṣe wù wá gbogbo ń ta bá dẹ̀ fẹ́ àtúntò ṣe àbẹ̀rẹ̀ àwọn fún àwọn tí kò tí wọ́n tí wọ́n pé tó bá ti wà lẹ́yìn wa Fúlàní ayágbélà tí ń pààyàn ò lè ṣe kankan fún wa mọ́ nígbà ní baba mo jẹ́ ká fi sùúrù kọ́rọ̀ wa ṣèlú àfi sùúrù kọ́ adẹ̀dẹ̀lẹ̀ mi ọlọ́run nípa yín rẹ ìgbà tí baba Bọ́lá mẹ́ Tinubu ń béèrè ọlọ́run wọlá wákàtí àsìkò tá a wà yìí ọlọ́run máa ń yọ̀ǹdẹ̀ fún baba yẹn ọlọ́run jẹ́ mi baba Tinubu gbó ẹ̀nà bá nífẹ̀ẹ́ mi ń tòótọ́ tọkàntọkàn yọmọ fọkàn bá mi lọ ó sì mọ bá mi yin baba yẹn kò ní í bú ẹni tó bá ń mú baba Tinubu ń sìn ọ̀dọ̀ ìgbà tí ọ̀fẹ́ràn mi ohun tó ń wá wàhálà sí mi lọ́rùn ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ dúkìá mi ti bàjẹ́ lálálá ní wọ́n ti yẹ ń jí gbogbo ẹ̀ta àti yọta wọ́n ti ta ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ dúkìá mi.
All right. I think the lesson for me, I already mentioned it anyway, is that there has to be somebody in your life that can tell you stop it. Even if it's your wife or your husband or your father, your mother, your mentor or your lecturer, you should have a mentor. You should have somebody you look up to. You have somebody that can pick a phone and just say, hello, meet me here at this time. Drop everything you're doing, come now. Or I'd like to see you. You be like, Mombo and Sensei, I'll be with you now. Like, you've got to have someone like that. And I'm saying that not because of Igbo or the other one, Nnamdi Kanu. It's because they may never call you. And this is what I've noticed about mentors. And if you also mentor people, this is also the fact. You may never call your mentee, you may never talk to them and say, hello, come and meet me. You may never do it. But the fact that you are there is like being a parent and you're at home. It's not like every time you're like, all these boys, all my children, come, let's talk. No, just because you are there is only what just because you have a father, you have somebody. And when the AZ that went to speak in Abuja is not, he cannot call Nnamdi Kanu to order. No. You can't say Nnamdi Kanu, everybody is a king. Everybody's Oga. So hopefully they understand that this is actually beyond, Kenya. They will get serious. And I wish Nnamdi Kanu all the best with his, what's it called, appeal. Hopefully he gets that sorted. I'm going to read just one more thing, bring people up, and then I want to talk about abandoned properties today, and then we'll go. Excuse me, and the unitary system, a question somebody asked on X. I've responded on X, but I'm going to respond here as well. Something terrible happened earlier today while we're here. I mean, since we've been here, some interesting things have happened, but one very sad thing happened to Peter Obi. It's quite sad that this would happen in Nigeria, but he was attacked in Edo State. I'm going to read from the Telegraph. I don't think things like this should be happening, to be honest, right? You don't have to agree with somebody's politics, but all this attacking. But let's read the Telegraph. It says here, gunmen attack Obi, Odigi Oyegun, ATC chiefs in Edo. Former presidential candidate Peter Obi, former APC national chairman Chief John Odigi Oyegun, and other chieftains of the African Democratic Congress (ADC) were reportedly attacked by suspected thugs on Tuesday in Edo State. By the way, the man who came in earlier and dropped the news in the comment section, I had to go find it, but thank you for actually alerting me. I'll read the full story now. The new development was disclosed by Obi's former campaign spokesman and national coordinator of the Obedient Movement Worldwide, Dr. Yunusa Tanko, in a statement from Abuja. Tanko said Peter Obi and the leadership of the AGC are under siege in Benin, Edo State. During the formal declaration of Olumide Akpata into the ADC, armed individuals followed us from the ADC secretariat to Chief John Odigi Oyegun's residence. They fired shots at the gate and destroyed several vehicles in what appears to be a failed assassination attempt. Democracy is in danger. Photos and videos shared by Tanko showed several SUV windscreens shattered and Odigi Oyegun's gate riddled with bullet holes. The attack occurred amid political activities surrounding the formal induction of Olumide Akpata into the ADC, raising concerns about rising political tensions in Edo State. The incident comes a day after the ADC candidate in the Abuja Municipal Area Council AMAC chairmanship election, Dr. Moses Paul, and the Obedient Movement rejected the February 21 election results, citing widespread irregularities. But I thought Edo State was LP stronghold. I thought like they had that place on lockdown. It's quite sad. And I don't like violence. I don't think it's necessary, but that's the news. Sugar Daddy, Akwaja Metal. Dr. Badru says it is bad, but could be politics. I actually thought about that. I just didn't say it. I thought about it, but I didn't want to say it because I don't. So here's the thing. I didn't want to dampen, I just don't want to talk about it, but it could be that. It could be that. But regardless, I don't think it's something. But we know politics. It could. I'm not saying what that means, although I'm reading what you're writing in the comment section. I've thought about it, but I don't want to say it. But let's just stay with the surface for now. There shouldn't be violence in our politics, and hopefully people do better. Thank you for listening to that very long news section, because we haven't been here in a while, so that's why it took a long time. I'll bring some people up on TikTok, and then we'll get into abandoned properties. I want us to do it in 1 hour and then call it a day. So if you're coming up, very short, just 2 people, please. I see you already, you've been waiting for a bit. So just make it brief, speak to anything you want to talk about that has to do with today's news, and then we can move to abandoned properties and the thing about unitary system. Okay? Thank you very much for listening, everybody. So, one person just joined. Please don't join again. If there's time, I'll bring more people. No. If you have joined already, don't go down. I see. I was going to bring you up. Please send your request again. Don't worry about it. I don't mind. I'm just saying that if you other people that want to come up, don't worry. Once I'm done with it, if there's still time, we'll bring other people up. But the gentleman who just went down, I saw you right now. I know you. I can't remember the name, but it was brief. So please send your request. I'll bring you back up. We'll have Bumblebee CEO and that person that went down. So let's start with CEO.
Good evening, Prof.
Evening, sir. Good evening, sir.
Okay, and again, thank you for what you're doing. A lot of to strengthen you, multiply you, protect you, preserve you, and promote you. Okay, yeah, quick one on the NMPC. The president signing the executive order. I think a section of the Constitution, I think Section 80 or so, says that all revenues should go to the Federation account. Now, I was expecting this for a while ago, but better late than never, because NNPC is now a commercial entity. It is no longer a parastatal. It cannot be funded from the Federation account. If they need money, they should raise money like every commercial entity. They either go to the stock market or seek for debt to fund their operations. So they cannot be ferrency to disappear, which was what they've been doing all this while. So it allows for transparency. Because it's a cheat. I mean, what they've been doing over the years is because they've been cheating the Federation. So if we now want to do the right thing, and people are saying that it is not appropriate to do it, I don't know which law they are quoting. The Constitution is supreme to the Petroleum Industry Act anyway. So if the president decides to align the revenue of the Federation in line with the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then it's appropriate. And then the gentleman from Pengassan, look, I've stopped taking Pengassan seriously because, like I wrote out there, is the voice of Isaac, the hand of Jacob. When people come out to say things like that, you can assume, rightly so, that somebody or something like that. So because if it's only an insane person that will say this is not the right thing to do. Exactly. So it's only an insane person that will say this is not the right thing to do. Because I was looking at something today. The budget of Nigeria for this year is about $36 billion. Prof, the budget of Ghana for this year is $31 billion. Nigeria is 250 million people. Ghana is roughly about 35 million people. The size of Ghana is just about the size of Southwest Nigeria. So there's something wrong with our revenue and we need to correct it. And this is the right step in the right direction. I would have loved to talk about that topic, but because of time, let me just allow other people to go. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for that. And it's important, to be honest, what you said. But here's a question I'd like to ask you before you go, CEO, please. So if this thing is supposed to benefit us, and I think it is, like I mentioned earlier, why do you think Pengassan is up in arms against,
I mean, like I said, I've said it codedly that Eguntunjo, I don't know, you help me to complete it. Okay, so definitely there is somebody that is pulling the strings of the puppets. Of course, a lot of people, look, some people have taken national assets to be their private estate. And whenever changes occur that alters the balance of probability against them, of course they will react, but they will not react directly because they don't want to be seen as being against or confrontational to the government. They will react through these means. They will go and convince some of these people, no, look, they want to sack you, they want to. I mean, NNPC had 2 refineries NNPC had 3 refineries that have not produced fuel in the last 10 years. And where people working there, they were paying them salary. Where were they getting money to pay these salaries? So these are all the issues that we're talking about. And until we correct it, then we go. I mean, the major problem in Nigeria is revenue. We are not just generating enough money to satisfy all our needs. And the moment we take, the earlier we take it serious, the better for us.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. Actually, let's go to Bumblebee, please. Good evening, Bumblebee.
Good evening, Prof.
Ẹkáàbọ. Oh, I think he has a call. Let's move quickly to Preacher Boy. Good evening, Preacher Boy.
Sir,
Yes, sir. Okay. Sorry, Preacher Boy, 1 second. Let's finish with Bumblebee. I think he just ended the call so that he could speak. Please, thank you. Bumblebee, oh yeah.
Yeah, so thanks for bringing me up. I'll keep my submission within my 2 minutes time frame. So one of the things I'll just say is, you see, when you make a clown a king, the palace turns into a circus, or something along those lines. So when you see a whole hazy coming out to talk like that, it shows that there is no leadership pedigree of that caliber. So it's just someone who is wearing a shoe that is not fit for him. And it's quite sad. And then when you see people doing the wrong thing, you are heading in the wrong direction, and for every step you take, you keep doubling down on the wrong position. You know what they say is, when you are digging yourself into a ditch, the first thing you want to do is stop. You know, they keep doubling down, they keep forcing things in people's face, and it's not going to work. You are not the only stakeholder in Nigeria. You have several groups of people, different identities, different culture. Number one, the first thing you need to know is, when you get into their space, respect their space. Number two, when you want to make your case for your own people, you'd also need to see things from the perspective of others. That's the only time people will take you seriously. If you are not able to have some level of empathy and some level of negotiation at that level, then you are not going to get your way. And it's unfortunate that in the long run, they will be relegated to a position where they are totally ineffective. They will complain, and nobody will come to their aid. Trump is not going to be there forever, and all these gimmicks they are playing now, they are not going to be able to play forever. Number two, I want to speak on the quality of person that Tinubu is. Most people don't understand the quality of person that Tinubu is. Someone who has a pedigree of being a C-suite executive in a multinational. So, as a function of some of the work I do, I get to meet some of these people. They are some of the smartest people. They are people that, yes, they might not be the most technically sound people, but they sit in a position where they recruit some of the most technically sound people. And they are very smart to the point that when you come to maybe present an idea to them within a couple of 2 minutes, 3 minutes, they can read you, they can assimilate and comprehend everything you say, and they can make actionable steps based on what you said. So people that are on that level, and you see that even Tinubu, the people he surrounds himself with, people like Fashola, very smart. Go and look at their resume, go and look at their pedigree. People like Sanwo-Olu, look at their resume and pedigree. So most people don't know. Someone said something one time. He said, we are so lucky to have Tinubu, and he's the best president ever. That is one of the few presidents or leaders that we've had that when you go into a meeting with him, you have a 5 minutes meeting and he picks everything that you say and he regurgitates it back, summarizes it, and is able to give you feedback immediately. So most people don't know. They tend to think maybe because he has a very gentle countenance and gentle temperament, they don't know that he's a chess master and is always 10 steps ahead of everybody else. I pray that we are able to have him for the full duration of the 2 terms in good health, so that at least Nigeria will be able to reach a very reasonable milestone. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Bumblebee, and amen to your prayers. We are blessed to have President Tinubu, and we can only imagine what's going to happen in the next 4-5 years to 2021 by the grace of God. I have something that I was thinking about, but I won't talk about it now. But at least let's finish this second term. Well, thank you very much for that, Bumblebee. Let's go to OA. Good evening, OA. My brother.
I was seeing something in the comment section that the PIA is actually an aberration to the Constitution. It shouldn't have existed in the first place. The ocean, because I have taken my time, not now, when the PIA was passed into law, right, in 2021, and I studied it extensively. It was absolute nonsense. The PIA was the act that commercialized NNPC. Also NNPC, the limited, right? So how can a limited withhold 60% of their sales? So people are only talking about the 130%. Is actually to Section 9 of that PIA. Man like a verifying count, so just note it down, then you can read it after. Section 9 of that PIA Act gives them 30% off our frontier exploration. So it tells them you keep the money into an account and then you use it to explore. Now, Section 62 again gives them another 30% for management fund. So in case, because NNPC is in charge of building our pipelines and all those things. So in case you conceive an idea about a project, you can just go on. So whatever profit you make, you have to hold. So they are literally holding 60% of whatever they make in the year. But that is against, and that was what I was explaining, that is against the Constitution, because our Constitution, Section 162 of the Constitution, Section 162, I think subsection 2 to be precise, stated that clearly, that every fund in the country has to go to the federation account. So it's actually not against the law. It's the PIA, which is just an act that is supposed to be in accordance with the Constitution, that was going against the Constitution in the first place. So what Tinubu did was actually the right thing he should have done. It is the right thing to go in the right path. NNPC, which is a private organization, more extent to NNPC viewer, right? It's literally a private entity right now. Just that we own 51% of it. So the remaining 49%, which belongs to stakeholders, they fight for their profit. So you are saying a private company should keep 60% of your total profit in the year without any declaration. That's why auditing them is extremely difficult. Almost impossible. Now, does Pegasan have a legal stand to even talk about this matter? No. Pegasan does not, because Pegasan is just an organization that has nothing, they're a body, private body, just like every organization that has nothing to do with it. It's just the workers in the mainstream, in the lower stream and the upper stream. So Pegasan does not have a legal stand to challenge the executive order in the first place. So you continue to try to explain here the other stance, because the order is overriding what shouldn't have been in place in the first place. So is either NNPC is a government entity or it's a private entity. So if it's a government entity, we can say, okay, hold on to 60% of our fund. But it cannot be a private entity, run as a private entity, and then it keeps hold of 60% of our funds. It makes no sense. 30% to the frontier exploration, another 30% to the management fund. Section 9 and Section 64. So it makes no sense. Lori Ikeji, I actually made a video on that electoral act before the president even spoke about it. I made a video about, because you see on social media space, and it's sad when you see the people, the people that are supposed to be the next generation, they have no idea of how the electoral process runs. Mori video and Lori page VDM, and he was talking about how the electoral act that is supposed to count our election electronically, the machine. And I'm like, wait, this is what I've been hearing from even stupid people. But you now, you have millions of followers. Your followers will run away with this. You do not vote electronically. So how do you expect it to count electronically? So now, because I studied the electoral acts before, then I went back to check it again. And I realized that Senate made exactly the same error that they made the first time. Now, consider Section 60, subsection 5. of that Electoral Act. I'll just summarize what it says there. It says in case the election results in terms of 40 device and something like that, the EC8 form shall be the primary form for collation. That is wrong. The EC8 form is the primary collation form for the election. It is not online because Shemepe Court actually ruled that the IRF is just a viewing portal. So the IRF serves as just a viewing portal. It is not a collation center. So when Senate is writing law as if IRF is a collation portal, you are confusing people that are already beyond stupid. Emma Jatonrawa are people, a whole lot, the influencers. They do not even understand. So what is our collation process? I've been voting long enough to know, and I've participated. So the election gets counted at the polling unit. Me Odonyi Ewa muted.
Only please, let's wrap up because of time, please.
Okay. So let me, because there are people here so that they can also verify the electoral process. It has not changed. It's not changing anytime soon. The election gets counted at the polling unit, then gets taken to the local government, gets collated. Now, after it's written on the EC8 form at the polling unit, every party agent signed. That EC8 form, EC8A form, gets collated at the local government. The result at the local government gets taken to the state and it gets collated there. That process did not change. It has not changed. It's not going to change. So, Ibawoni IRF, the collation center. So it's actually the Senate that is writing nonsense laws. And then the people are just making huge fuss about it. So in community money,
my brother, thank you so much for that submission. And it's very detailed. And that's why it's because of people like you that I say sometimes, I'm not an expert in this particular area. So if you know more about it, please come up and speak on it. And I'm glad you came up to speak on it. And I'm sure, we are all the better for it. So thank you very much for your submission. Brilliant stuff. So go to Preacher Boy, and then I don't know if we're going to be able to get into all of those things today, the abandoned property thing, but we'll see what we can do before we go. Let's have Preacher Boy, please. Go on. Preacher's Boy.
Am I being audible, sir? Yeah. Good evening, sir.
You're audible, but there's a lot of noise in the background.
Yeah, it's okay. So I just want to appreciate you again, since I don't have a lot of money to give, then I can give my words again. I'm being audible right now, huh?
Yes.
Okay. So I said the way you teach is a lot. These people.
I really want to hear you, but the background is a bit noisy. While you're sorting that out, Ade says, oh, he's very knowledgeable. Yes, he is. See, the hearing section, clinical subsection, I did not know those ones, but I'm glad somebody that knows is around to share. Preachers will go on.
Okay.
You're sounding far away from your mic, though. Okay. We're going to manage it like that. More hear you. I think
the way you teach them to analyze, it's not just but to give us different view by saying stuff. Then you play the video of the Yoruba King responding. And we can see from both sides. One was talking about serving people, helping people, and fighting for their people. And one is talking about actually getting something from the government, which is two different views entirely. And when these people are talking about unity, then you have to ask that what are they fighting for? When they want unity, they want it for their gain. When they want their division, they want it for their gain. And when you have this different view, and even when you are reading, you read for us, you show us ongoing account of event, then we can tell by ourselves that this is what actually happened, this is what actually, and it gives intelligence instead of indoctrinating people and the way other people will teach and say, okay, this is what happened. You don't do that. You just tell, okay, this is what this person say happened, and this is what this other person say happened, and you can judge by yourself. Even sometimes you can easily draw a conclusion, but you don't. You tell us to take from it whatever we desire to take from it, which is, to me, I see it as what you are giving is a whole lot of wisdom. You are teaching people to think for themselves, and there's no any money in this world that can actually give that. And which helped me when I got to somebody else's life, and they try to convince me with bullshit. The person posted this video that you already played here before. The video of Sir Ahmadu Bello talking about the Igbo domination in their area. So this particular person on live played the video and was saying he's a bigot for that. Then I was talking on the comment section that can't you put a context to this video? Why you just play this video without a context? That's not how to give information. Then he brought me up and said, well, come and talk, Shebi you sabi. Then I gave him the context. Then he was like, I was like, wow. And I'm proud of myself because I learned from here and I'm able to judge the event without just following. And I blocked the guy immediately that this place is for wrong information. So I just want to appreciate you again. This wisdom that I gained from here, I cannot pay enough for it. And thank you. God bless you. I'll go back to work now.
Thank you very much, Preacher's Boy. I don't want not to respond, and I'll tell you why I'm saying that. So first of all, thank you for your kind words, and I'm glad that you're able to share your thoughts on other spaces. And to be honest, I think at the end of the day, the important thing is that we learn. This is not Radio Biafra. The idea is not to tell you what to think. The idea is not to indoctrinate or spread propaganda. The plan is to, lay bare the information, right, and from different sources. And then, even if I arrive at my conclusion, I want to tell you how I got there. And if you arrive at a different conclusion, then you also have to prove to us how you got there. But a lot of people, don't even care. And the reason we bring the stuff so we can also look at the data together, and then we can then decide. So I'm glad that that's working. The other bit, when you say there's nothing you can give, there's something you can give, but it's like when we're growing up, they'll say that the teacher's reward is in heaven. I taught in a school many years ago, and I learned that it's not true, because one parent, God bless her, came to the end of the year party and gave me, it was 800 naira. My salary at the time was, I think she gave me 1,000 naira. My salary at the time was 800 naira. So 2020 naira. I gone. So I was like, okay, the teacher's reward can be on earth as well. I mean, I don't know if I hope you get the point. The point is that I'm glad, and I should acknowledge as well those who appreciate what we do here. Thank you very much for your support and for ensuring that we're able to also do other things. God bless you. All right, now we've had everybody. Let's see what we can take before we go. So, I want to thank everybody who came up. OA, CEO, Bumblebee, Preacher's Boy. Thank you very much. It was supposed to be 2 people, but we ended up having many fantastic speakers, and we are glad you came up. All right. So, we'll be here again tomorrow, by the way, 4 p.m. if you're at time West African time. Like I said, every week I want us to listen to our elders once a week. Last week we listened to Chief Samuel Akintola. This week we'll be listening to Chief Bola Ige. Okay, we'll drink from the wells of their wisdom as much as we can. So that'll be tomorrow. Tomorrow tomorrow or Friday. But we are here every weekday, Mondays to Fridays, 4 p.m. Ife time, West African time. Now to today's topic. Over the weekend, I have conversations sometimes on X, although the place is full of interesting people who would curse you out. But like I always say to people, if you curse me out, I'll just send you to your parents. I don't know how to be cursing people out. Just say, go and tell them I hope everything is well. But people insult you, but then sometimes those brief moments, people also ask questions. And one of the conversations we had over the weekend actually got me thinking, maybe we should talk about these things. And that's because the person wasn't asking a question. The person was accusing me. And was using me as a point of contact to Yoruba people. Talking about the fact that people took over abandoned properties of Igbos. Like I said, we have a series we're working on, but I think it's important to sometimes talk about these things because, to be honest, generally, we don't care about these things as Yoruba people, and I understand why we don't, because it doesn't really matter. But we should know. Not that it becomes our main focus in life, but we should know what has happened so that it's not easy for people to blackmail us with lies. I'm going to read to you what started the whole thing, and then we'll see how much we can read together today. So here's what I was... Okay, the person wasn't talking to me, the person was talking. Someone else sent it to me, and I responded to it. I think that's a better way to put it. And the person then began to accuse me of stuff, but let's leave some of those things out. So let's start with what the person talked about. He said that the Lagos Ibadan media has tried to hide the fact that there were established decrees in Lagos. It has changed it to decrees. It wasn't decrees before. But let me just read what the person said. Even if it's decrees, still fine. He says here that It says Lagos Ibadan media has tried to hide the fact that there were established decrees in Lagos to seize Igbo-owned properties during the war. They now blame all property confiscation on Rivers State because they too had an abandoned property decree under APIC, Abandoned Property Implementation Committee, after the Civil War. The interesting thing about this whole thing is that this person then put out a document saying there's an administration of abandoned properties 1969, and then he said this thing was put out by the Lagos State House of Assembly on 20th December 1968. Now, first of all, there was no Lagos State House of Assembly in 1968. So that's how you begin to know that these people sometimes, the whole idea is to be a victim, not necessarily to talk about truth or whatever. There was no Lagos State House of Assembly in 1968. That's the first thing. Number two, it's actually true that there was a framework that was put together by the Lagos State government, but it was not to take over people's property. It was actually to help them preserve the property. So I'm going to read my response, and then I'll explain. Here, there was no Lagos State House of Assembly in 1968. It was a military regime, for God's sake. And yes, it is true that there was a framework to help Igbos get their properties back in Lagos, and it worked out. How is that a bad thing? The government took over houses left by fleeing Easterners, mostly Igbos, to prevent them from being vandalized, occupied by illegal squatters, or falling into ruin. To achieve this, an abandoned properties committee was set up to manage the houses, find legitimate tenants, and collect rent on behalf of the absent owners. When the war ended in 1970, the Lagos State government had a record of all rents collected. Governor Mobolaji Johnson famously reported that his administration had collected over £250,000 from about 3,000 managed properties. When the owners of the properties returned to Lagos and provided proof of ownership, they had their houses returned to them, and the government handed over the accumulated rent minus maintenance costs. This helped them restart their lives. Now, sane people would appreciate these gestures I'll take that game because this is me talking now. Now, I've been talking all the while about that one, we're quoting stuff. Now, sane people would appreciate these gestures. However, if you were raised to be a perpetual victim and an ingrate, you will complain until those who did you a favor wonder if it was worth it in the first place. So why do we do good regardless? Because we were raised to be responsible and fair, unlike those who are conditioned to hate the idea of accountability and responsibility, yet celebrate mediocrity and victimhood as if their lives depended on it. So what happened in Port Harcourt did not happen in Yoruba land. And no, we did not occupy abandoned properties, we helped take care of them. A famous example was Shubomi Balogun of FCMB helping to fix and returning Alex Ekwema's house and rent. Learn to be grateful instead of being an ungrateful, sad, hard to please, whining Egbiri. God bless you. By the way, this is from the book by Bolaji Johnson. I mean, I got the facts from the book, Lagos State, My Life of Service with Integrity. Now we're going to read a number of books today, but this is my introduction. The point is that there are people people left their houses just like they fled during Oso Abiola. They also ran away in 1966. And when they ran home, when they fled, because of what happened, and then, you had Ojukwu telling everybody to return, so everybody left. So they left their houses unoccupied. And some of those houses, miscreants started occupying the trans, the thugs around, would just go there and, misbehave and stuff. The government then created set up a committee to look after houses that have been abandoned by Easterners that were fleeing to the eastern region, and then they took care of those houses. Now the beautiful thing is this: when they returned, and this is what Governor Bolaji Johnson, and this was not federal government, this was Lagos State. Again, Lagos State was created in 1967. Okay, and it was created under a military regime. That was Yakubu Gowon's regime. There is no way on earth there will be a House of Assembly in 1968 with the military in power. These people not lie. Number two, the governor wrote a book and talked about what happened at the time, and he mentioned that about 250 was returned to people. They go back to Lagos. Why? Because the houses were taken over by the government or by the committee. They fixed those houses up and rented the houses to people, right? They collected rent, over time. So when the owners of the houses came back, they removed the maintenance costs, right? And then gave them the money. About 3,000 houses. Now, you're properly raised and you are not an ingrate, like a cursed person, you would appreciate that gesture. You would say, we left our house uninhabited, we came back, it hasn't gone into disrepair, you have fixed it up, thank you very much. That's what you would say. But it doesn't look like everybody is at the same level of evolution. So that's why you have a person like this go on social media and say things like Yoruba people confiscated properties because they had abandoned properties committee. A committee they set up so that the abandoned properties could be occupied and money could be paid to the owners of the spaces. But there was an exception, and I should mention it. The exception was actually Ojukwu. Ojukwu did not get his properties back while others got their properties back. Number one, he was in exile. From 1970 to 1982, Ojukwu was in exile. The people who got their houses back started getting their houses back in 1970. So for those 12 years, it was not even around. When he got pardoned and returned to Nigeria, he began to try to get his property back. So what really happened was this, and he got his properties back, by the way, which it is what it is. I don't want to. It's just the man didn't pay anything for what he did. Nothing. And it wasn't even his properties, to be fair. It was his father's properties, but details. Anyway, the point is, Shehu Shagari was the president, and then after him was Buhari. Ojukwu was just trying to get his properties back, or his father's properties back, which has become his properties, and then you had the Babangida, and eventually got those things back. But what I'm going to do is I want to do like a systematic, very, very quickly explanation, read from some books so that you understand how these things actually went down in the north, in the west, and in the former eastern region. So let's quickly start with the book by Professor Isawa Elaigo. It's called Go On, the biography of a soldier statesman. All right, so it says here, we were talking about Ukwabi Asika. I don't want to go back to read it because we've talked about Ukwabi Asika here before. It was when we became the administrator of the East Central State, which is what we now call Southeastern Region. Apart from this appointment of Mr. Asika and giving support to him, Gowon also authorized the establishment of abandoned properties committees in all states to administer and collect rents on all properties belonging to Igbos who had abandoned such properties during the 1966-70 crisis. Many Igbos returned after the war to huge sums of money, which helped to resettle them. So, I had quoted the book by Mobolaji Johnson, who was the first governor of Lagos State. Now I'm quoting Gowon's biography, where they're saying that a lot of people actually returned. A lot of Igbos returned after the war to huge sums of money, which helped to resettle them. That's what you will do to your brother. And I'm saying this not to gloat. I'm saying this because of Yoruba people who would read the stuff I read earlier, because somebody read it and sent it to me. I responded and the other one started insulting me. The point is, Yoruba people will read this thing and you feel like apologizing to people. You're apologizing for what you are not even guilty of. And it's mostly because we don't care about this history. What's our business? But we should. Even if we, of course, it's not the focus of our lives, but we should know what happens so that you don't end up being made to pay for what you didn't even owe. In your region, Yoruba land, people got their properties back. Even Ojukwu that didn't get it back while he was in exile, eventually got it back under IBB. If we have time, we'll read it. If you want to read how he got it back under IBB, read the book by Professor Ole Soyinka, The Open Soul of a Continent. If there's time, we'll read it. So first, we've read Mobolaji Johnson's book. The book again is titled Lagos State, My Life of Service with Integrity. And now we're reading Go On, the biography of a soldier statesman. I'll take it slowly. Go On, the biography of a soldier statesman by J. Isawa Elaigo. And it says here that Go On authorized the establishment of abandoned properties committees in all states to administer and collect rents on all properties belonging to Igbos who had abandoned such properties during the 1967-70 crisis. Many Igbos returned after the war to huge sums of money, which helped to resettle them. Now, here's where the problem, comes in. In some cases, there were problems of restoration of properties. The Rivers State case vividly demonstrated the residual legacies of pre-war bitterness in the system. Over the years, this issue was taken care of. It is most heartening to note that Gowon's foresight led to the establishment of these committees, which became very useful later. The United States, with over 100 years since Civil War, did not heal its wounds as fast as Nigeria did. I don't know if we've healed that wound, to be honest. I think we concealed the wound. We didn't heal the wound. And this generation should heal that wound. And the way to heal that wound, it's not like you are hitting the wound to prove a point, but you have to expose the wound. Let the elements work on the wound. It needs breeze. Then you do for spirits, all kinds of things. Let it be open, because they are lying to everybody, and there's no healing. But you've gotten the idea. I'm going to read the third book. Whitey Kubo on YouTube says Ojukwu should have been made to pay for the destruction he unleashed on the Midwest at Ore, at the very minimum. Absolutely. Not Ojukwu alone. The Eastern region. The Southeastern region now should have paid for all the destruction that happened in the Midwest. These guys bombed spaces in Ore, in Lagos, before Lagos State was created. They were bombing places in VI. They were bombing places in Yaba. They were about to bomb UI before they caught them. 10 of them. If you read Crisis and Conflict in Nigeria by A.H.M. Kegrin, is there. The kind of thing that people did, and I just let them go. Now the point is, because nobody did anything, it's as if in their minds they need us. That's why they didn't do anything to us. Apparently they did. They are the ones that wronged us. That's why they're fussing over us, and they never. We don't have to acknowledge anything wrong, which is nonsense. And that's one of the problems that Nigeria has. That's one problem that Europe does not have with Germany, for instance. And even the funny thing, when I read about the World War, I felt that was too much. Why would you treat them like this? Apparently, you're talking about people who have read, who have understanding of history and life, who understood the Persian Empire, who knew what happened with the Ottoman Empire, who understood what happened with Roman Empire and Alexander. They knew in Greece. They knew how things should be taken care of. Not that I just say, oh, no victor, no vanquished. That's what we're still suffering today. There was a victor, there's a vanquished. And when you say there's a vanquished, it's not that you are rubbing it in. You are recreating structures. You're not saying, oh, you are bad, we've won you, you always be down. That's unnecessary, it's just childish. But listen, this is where you are now. Okay, we're going to build. This is what it's going to take to build. Let me tell you what happens. In building, that person regains character. You're not punishing, you are helping them. I'm sorry. Nigeria failed Igbos, not in terms of rehabilitation. The most important rehabilitation did not happen, and it's mental. That's why when President Buhari then came along and said that he was going to create psychiatric hospitals in the East, a lot of people thought it was a bad man, that what he said was wrong. It was right. Maybe that was not the time to do it, to be fair. They should have done it earlier. Do you know how young people think? They don't even know what happened, but they are victims. They are automatic victims. Like, they don't have to know. How do I know? This thing I'm responding to, the guy said, Lagos Ibadan media has hidden this from us. They had abandoned properties committee. And now, did they hide anything? No. Did you have abandoned properties committee? Yes. Then he said they use it to take over our properties. How? Nobody asks for any how. You don't ask how. You just say, oh, they did it to us. Hey, yeah, they're bad people. Automatically, you switch to being a victim, and every other person is the perpetrator of evil. So it doesn't matter what you're talking. You could be talking about oil and gas. The victim will be kicking. You could be talking about rice. You could be talking about fair allocation. You could be talking about number of states. It doesn't matter what you're talking about. The person is in a perpetual state of victimhood. And I think that's when Nigeria failed. So when I read this book, the first time I read this book, I just wondered why I understood why he wrote it when he said that, let me read it again. It says here that the United States, with over 100 years since Civil War, did not heal its wound as fast as Nigeria did. We did not heal. Even today, it hasn't healed. And the reason is not because Nigeria was bad. The reason was because Nigeria did not actually put the mirror in front of the average Igbo person and say, look at yourself. This is what you did. Instead of saying, look at yourself, fix up, you are saying, you are so perfect. No victor, no vanquished. We are the same. We are not the same. He just went through trauma. Forget, yes, we built houses. We sent, by the way, people don't know what our parents did. We don't know what our parents did. We should be proud. Churches, individuals sent food, money, clothes to the Southeast. Governments, state governments sent food to the Southeast. Not because they owed them anything, but because Ojulon Roju Shano is compassion. And that's normal, and that's right. But the people that your parents sent all those things come to you and tell you that, see what you did to us. What did I do to you? Am I the one that said you should go to war? Did anybody put a gun to your head and say you must fight? Did they not beg you not to go to war? But you have no leader, none of your leaders, should be answerable. You should be asking me what Awo did. Something's wrong with you. Awo did the best thing any human could. In fact, I don't even know how many humans could do what Awo did. And Gowon tried, but there was a victor and there was a vanquished. I'm going to read another book this time around. I'm going to read Shehu Shagari's Beckon to Serve. And then, if time permits, I'm going to read There Was a Country by Chinua Achebe, because it's better to also listen to an Igbo man. You know what? Let's listen to Chinua Achebe first. I've said it several times. His book is propaganda. There Was a Country